Good morning. This is the beginning of episode 2 of the Utility Trilogy. In episode 1 we talked about fixing the world around us using skill. Talked about not leasing our life maybe from the landfill, like being able to fix things, have the curiosity to fix things. I'll talk about the body in episode 2, the utility of our bodies. I might call it the chassis, the machine, because it doesn't matter if you have skill to fix a problem if you don't have a capacity physically to either get to the problem or handle the problem. The utility of the body, I don't want us to get misconstrued. Utility is not about just looking good. It's not vanity. It's about having an agency where you can carry a heavy load. Can you pull yourself up? Can you move fast enough to save yourself or maybe even save someone else? The machine actually houses our mind. If the machine's broken or the chassis is broken, our engine, our mind, becomes useless. If you're weaker than you should be, you become a liability, maybe to the tribe, your family, your group. If something happens, are you becoming a burden? I think we talked about that in the past podcast. Plan B podcast. What's your plan B? I don't want us to treat our fitness as a hobby. Some people, they boast a little bit about being a lifestyle choice. I want us to make the utility more of a obligation. It's like even a moral obligation. Socrates is one of my favorite Greek guys also. I don't know, like I said before, I'm not trying to achieve perfection. I've got some bullet points and notes in front of me. I'm getting better, hopefully, at using this teleprompter type thing. Got one video there, teleprompter here. But Socrates, back to my man Socrates. This will be close, not perfect. No man has the right to be an amateur in physical training or physicality. It's shameful for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength which they are capable. That's really close. I don't know if that's exact, but like I said, I'm not trying to achieve perfection. I'm trying to achieve a utility. That's part of the mind too. That's part 3. So let's don't think of the body about how we look on Instagram or YouTube, or you plug in the thing. You don't want to be that guy, you want to be shredded. We're talking about feeling a potential, or maximizing our potential as a human. Use it. Don't let our body waste so we can't have a utility. So remember, pick up the load, pick up something heavy, move something heavy, walk from the back of the parking lot instead of parking at the front, or walk to the shop. Run, jump, sprint, pull up. It's an example in my life. Miss Vulcan goes and gets horse feed. She pulls up to the house. It's in the back of the truck. I don't take the truck to the barn. The barn's probably 150, 200 meters away. I'll grab the 50-pound bag. That's my opportunity to practice the utility of the body. So I'm going to try to do this virtual, I call it virtual journaling, podcasting. I'm going to do it in sections like I did, I think, 2 or 3 episodes ago or podcast ago, and just kind of piece them together. So as I think of different things, I'm going to talk about them, put them together, and then make one big, useful podcast. Until the next podcast. I'm going to bring in chapter 2. I'm going to talk a little bit still about the body. I'm going to bring in another one of my favorite. I have so many favorite of the ancient Greeks. Maybe refer to Plato a little bit this morning. Plato brings up, or he argues, there's a need for balance. In the Republic, he calls it music and gymnastics. Music is philosophy and education, and gymnastics is physical training. So he's arguing for a balance. So if you have too much of the gymnastics or the gym, it's thought that you're becoming just a brute or savage. If you have too much of the music or the philosophy or the maybe education, I think the actual words used or translated word is soft or coward. If I can quote this correctly, in order for a man to succeed, God provided him with two means, education and physical activity, not separately, one for the soul and the other for the body, but for the two together. If you only train just the body, we're not looking for, I think I brought up vanity before, you become just a savage, a brute, for lack of better terms. If you train just the mind, I don't think you become soft, but I think it hinders the training of the mind if the machine is not working well. We're a system of systems, so we can't focus. I think I brought it up, we're a very unspecific being. We're not made for just one thing. So we have to keep healthy the system of systems. The biggest thing in the Republic that I've made notes after reviewing some here in the recent past is the lack of exercise. I think it brings up helping promote or invigorate a shameful society. The words that he used in there exactly, this is one of my journals, one of my many journals. Because we live in indolence or laziness, calls the untreated, untrained body a swamp. But in the Republic, Plato refers to exercise not for just only for good strength. He said the lack of exercise was the cause of a shameful society. He's criticizing men of the time who are just living in indolence or laziness. He describes the untreated, untrained body as a marsh, a swamp that's filled with winds and fluids. The critique that really sticks in my mind is he argued that it's disgraceful for us to force physicians to invent new fancy names for disease that are actually just the result of a bad lifestyle. I think we're doing this today. We've invented syndromes or disease, metabolic disease, and then we buy prescriptions for the things that could be fixed with the utility of the body. I've brought up a ruck, or some people are using fasting. It's to the point where we're forcing the doctors to give a name to laziness or the lack of taking care of our machine. We're treating the machine, the body, kind of like a rental car. We're going to let somebody else fix it. Another quote that I've got here in my teleprompter notes here. To require the help of medicine, not when a wound has to be cured, but by living or leading a life of indolence and luxury, one is filled with flows and winds like a marsh, compelling the sons of a syphilis, which is the doctors, physicians, to invent for such diseases names as dropsy and catarrh. I'm sure I mispronounced that. Do you not think this is abominable? Yes. Because we are manufacturing our own decay. You can't peel your way out of a problem that you've behaved your way into. The chassis, the machine, requires maintenance. You have to pay for it metabolically, maybe with the cost of exercise, or pay the cost metabolically with exercise. Otherwise we're going back to using our financials to fix it with a physician. All right, that's part 1A, or chapter 2A of the utility of the body. Chapter 3 of the Trilogy of Utility, referring to the body, part 2. We'll talk a little bit about maybe the trap of our modern fitness. The modern fitness has become more about aesthetics, is a good word, maybe call it mirror fitness. How good we look in the mirror. We can Bring in another one of my so many favorite Stoic philosophers is Seneca. He hated, I guess the modern word would be a meathead or a gym rat. He warned against becoming obsessed with the gym to a point where it dulls your mind. That was his point. If I can think of a quote, it's foolish to work hard at developing and broadening the shoulders, for the more you fatten your body, the more you cramp your mind. When he talks about fattening the body, he's talking about just becoming the big meathead or the big gym rat. It sounds like an anti-fitness, but it's actually more about anti-vanity. We're not training just to look big. The main goal of our training should be to be useful or have a utility. Don't waste your time so you can just look good in the mirror. Let's get the work done. Let's use your time in the gym to build friction. It's more of a operational fitness, everybody uses the buzzword functional fitness, but more of an operational fitness. Something you can use in life, not just something that just makes you look cosmetic, a cosmetic fitness, just so you look pretty. It's a metabolic cost for the body. Just like fixing the toaster, training the body is expensive. It takes time, it hurts, it takes away from other things. You can't outsource that time, you can't outsource that friction. I mean, you can't go to Amazon and buy your fitness or your utility or your physical health. If your toaster breaks, you can go buy one, but if your health breaks, you just can't go buy one. You can't hire a mechanic, which probably should back off a little bit on that, because in part of my world, that's what I do. I am the mechanic of fitness, house family fitness. That's what I do. I hopefully help teach people how to make a utility of their body. One form of utility is yours, 100% yours. Well, I guess all the utility is yours, but the machine, the chassis, it's yours. You have complete sovereignty over the choices or what you do to upkeep the machine. We have to go through training and not rush through things so we're prepared. I mean, it's a voluntary hardship that we must go through. So we can manufacture a struggle. We can manufacture friction. It's my favorite word here recently. I feel like I'm repeating it a lot. If we manufacture that friction, when a struggle becomes real or it's an emergency or we're needed to contribute, to use our utility, we're available, we're there. We're calloused. Well, maybe callous is a good word. We're calloused for the emergency, for the tragedy. So let's stop looking for a shortcut, for a hack, for a pill, for a shot. That's the biggest point I want to make about the utility of the body. The utility of the body. If the body's ready, we can do everything else better. We're training to be useful, to be a utility, to not be a burden. It's what we're built for. I can bring in Marcus Aurelius one more time. One of the things is in Meditations, in one of his entries of his journal of life, he wonders about when he really doesn't want to get up in the morning. And he thinks to himself, is this what I'm made for? Am I made to be in this bed and be warm and comfortable? Or am I made to do human things? So that's the biggest take off I want you to think about or use as your thought experiment, or whatever word I need to use for it. Is the utility of the body is not just for looks. It is to make everything better. I think I brought it up in chapter 2. We are a system of systems. If one system is failing, the other systems have to pick up and help the other system maintain or do what it needs to do. It takes time, it hurts, it's expensive, it's a metabolic cost. So let's add in a challenge. We can call it chapter 3's challenge of the body, utility of the body. In the trilogy of utility, let's pick up heavy things. Let's take a backpack. I think I brought this up in the past. Take your child's backpack or book bag. whatever you got in your car that you take to work every day, carry it. Because we were built to carry things. Carry it for a distance, carry it for a time. Might not be exciting, might be boring. It's simple, but it keeps the chassis, the machine, working. So we can reclaim our skill. We have to fortify our body. I'm probably going to work on this more, but we're going to have the next episode in the series is the mind. We're going to secure our mind or talk about the utility of the mind, utility of our thinking. But I mean, it kind of boils into the same thing of the body. I mean, we have to use our thinking, our mind, to fortify the body. We are a chassis, we're a mechanical structure. I don't want to be a liability. I want to be an asset. You can't outsource every struggle. If you outsource every struggle, if you haven't experienced the voluntary hardship, it will make the tragedy or emergency that comes up worse. Seek the friction, seek the hardship, seek the impediment. Make it operational utility. I think that's a good word. I put that in my notes. Can you actually do something, or just look, or do you just look like you can do something? You know, I think a lot of the younger generations feel like an old man once again. They could see somebody that has that look of fitness or look fit or have that shredded body, but can they actually do something? I can add in a small experience I've had in the past when I first started being a personal trainer at one of the Globo type gyms, as I like to call them. And we had a couple of gentlemen in there, and they kind of looked like a professional wrestler. Big, had the body, had the aesthetics. They were very photogenic. And I had them come do one of my classes, one of my short, hour-long. I was in that functional fitness realm, and they couldn't complete the class. They couldn't do a high volume of work. I'm not like downgrading them. I'm not like belittle or berating them, but they couldn't do the work that was more of an operational type utility. But they could lift the car outside, or they could move this huge object one time. That's great if that's what you need to do. I want to be more of a utility of fitness. Continuing with episode 2, this is going to be chapter 4. Talked a little bit about metabolic cost back in episode 1. Brought up thinking is expensive. Fixing the toaster is expensive. You have a cost. It's frustrating. It costs time. It could cost money, which is no concern. But we're talking about the chassis, the machine. It could be the most expensive thing because it hurts. It takes time that you think you don't have. You can't outsource it. The body, you have to take care of the body. You can go buy a new toaster. You can hire a mechanic to fix your car, fix your transmission, fix your lawnmower. You could hire somebody to cut the lawn. You can't hire somebody to do a push-up for you, to do a pull-up for you, to climb that hill, to carry something heavy. It's kind of, you have to have ownership of that. That's what I wanted to re-emphasize about the utility of the body. Everybody, plug in the person. Like the richest men on earth. I saw an article this morning. I think Elon is now officially the richest man in history because of his new package of stock for Tesla or SpaceX, or it doesn't make any difference. Jeff Bezos, Amazon guy, they still have to do all the work. They have to make their body have utility. Just because you see someone who looks fit, they have like their chassis fortified. There's one absolute thing you know about that person. They've done the work. They didn't buy it. They didn't inherit it. They built that utility. As usual, I can bring in Epictetus. Most people probably don't know his story, but Epictetus was born into slavery. And later in life, it's been noted that he had a crippled leg. He had a crippled leg because of his master, owner, you fill in the description, was very abusive to him. I'll have to look up the exact story, but Epictetus actually told him that if he kept bothering him in that manner, his leg would break. And when it did, his response was, I tried to tell you. But he didn't, his view of training is more of a self-care kind of outlook. He kind of viewed it as a preparation for a disaster. In Geridian, I believe, it's written in there, he said, we must undergo a hard winter training and not rush into things we have not prepared for. So what does that mean? A hard winter training. Winter training, it's expecting difficulty in the future. It's not talking about the actual winter training. Because now if you think about it, we live in air conditioning, we live in DoorDash, the Amazon, the 2-day shipping. It's not really the winter. The winter comes in when the car doesn't work. You have a car crash, you have a flat tire. Something doesn't work at your house. Say the air conditioning goes out. That's an occasion. It's a difficulty. Everybody thinks they can just rise to that occasion. If you think about it, you will fall to the level of your training, or I shouldn't say training, to the level of your utility. I think I brought up chapter 2, the hardship, the voluntary hardship. That's how we should treat the gym. How should we treat our training? So we can kind of manufacture a struggle, a friction, a difficulty in preparation for the winter, so we don't break when the winter arrives. Pick up something heavy. Imagine it's not you're picking up a sandbag in the gym. You're on a hike, you're on a walk, you're at the park, you're at the dog park. Your dog gets injured. Well, we just throw the dogs in there. The dog gets injured. Do you have the capacity to get your dog out of there, carry your dog, and get your dog to where it can get the help it needs? And that's what I want to say. We're not working out for vanity. We're not working out for the six-pack or the big booties. I think we need to use it to like operational fitness. Let's treat it as a voluntary hardship. More about our modern disease. Everybody kind of wants a hack. Everybody wants the one thing. They want to deal. I guess a deal in the absolute. It could be a completely other topic for the podcast. We use Ozempic. We use pills. We use surgery, which I am not faulting anybody for doing that. But I'm not going to call it a hack. But there's physics to building the chassis. If you use the pill or the surgery to get into a better place quicker, it's perfect. That's what it was originally designed for. But you still have to do the physics part of it. I don't care about back squat numbers, bench press numbers. I don't care what your abs look like. I want you to think more of a primal movement is what I care about. I keep going back to it. Rucking is probably one of the best operational workouts or physics of utility you can do. You can use a sandbag. You can pick up a big backpack full of books. You can get a rock. You can go really primal. Pick it up, walk with it. You don't have to run. You just kind of carry it, make it uncomfortable. The load makes it harder. Force times distance equals work. So you're carrying the heavy rock, the sandbag, the ruck, backpack, or the plate carrier. So you're increasing your work. Like carry it over a distance, carry it over a time, like I had brought up before, because that is operational, or the buzzword functional fitness. It could be your dog. It could be your child. Could you move your buddy out of the way if you needed to? I would like to know that I can do it. Have that utility to get into a safer place. I think it was brought up in our talk yesterday. It came up about they were asking, there was some friends from back in high school. When we get together at this time of year, because it's the Christmas season, we all live in different cities. And they were asking about some of the events I've done in the past. I've done some ultra stuff. I don't do them as often as I used to. And they just were asking, why would you do something like that? Because it's a challenge. It's proving utility, I guess. I brought it up to them that, it's cool when you finish. There's a lot of people that's where they get their pleasure and enjoyment out of it, is the finishing. It's like, this is what they did. They saw they can complete the event, the struggle, the challenge. But I tried to voice to them yesterday that the most enjoyment I got out of doing the really long ultra is at one point something fails, something goes bad, your headlight doesn't work, you get behind on your nutrition, something just sucks. And I told them that's the part I enjoyed the most, is finding a way out of that, finding a way out of the hardship. It proves to me that I have a utility. I can figure it out. I can use my mind, I can use my skill, and I can use my body to get out of whatever situation I was in. My fear is that most people, they're not afraid to fail. They're to the point where they're afraid of being seen failing. That makes sense. It's more of a vanity problem. They don't want it to not look cool. Bring back some old verbiage there. They want to make it look effortless, refined, like they're the master. It's easy for them. They want to be in the top 10, top 5. I'm not saying everybody wants to be braggadocious about things. I brought up failure. Failure is a good thing. You need to fail. It lets you know where the chassis is, where the mind is, where the skill is. Because if you never get to a point of failure, you never find the end of your capacity. So we've talked about skill, I think in part 1. Talking about the body in part 2. If we reclaim our skill, we can stop leasing stuff in the landfill. I think it was one of my phrases I came up with. If we fortify the body, I want to look at it as maybe we're not a liability in difficulty. We'll start working on maybe part 3. There might be a chapter 4, I don't know yet. But if we have a strong body, but we don't have a strong mind, strong body and a weak mind, I think Seneca brought it up. You become a beast. Maybe it was Socrates. That doesn't matter. You become a dangerous animal. So maybe next time we'll talk about part 3. We're going to secure the mind. So don't just listen to the podcast today, tomorrow, whenever you do listen to it. Pick up something heavy. Let's build utility. Build the utility of the body. I'm Vulcan, Sunday Smoke Podcast. See you next time. Part 1 was about fixing the skill in our world. Part 2 was about fixing the machine that houses the mind, our body. Our body is the chassis, the machine. If the machine or chassis is broken, the engine or the mind is useless. The hard truth is, it doesn't matter if you have the skill to solve a problem if you lack a physical capacity to get to the problem. Utility versus vanity. It's not about looks. It's not about a mirror fitness. It's not about being shredded for Instagram. It becomes a standard. The utility is an agency. Can you carry a heavy load? Can you pull yourself up? Can you move fast enough to save yourself or someone else? Socrates brought up, it's a moral obligation. If you're weaker than you should be, you are a liability to your tribe. You're a burden. It's our duty to make fitness not a hobby or a lifestyle choice. It's a moral obligation to be ready if and when disaster strikes. I talked about Plato. Plato called the lazy body a swamp or marsh filled with winds and fluids. It's disgraceful to live such a life of indolence or laziness that you force doctors, physicians to invent fancy names for diseases caused by our laziness. We should take this as a lesson. You can't pill your way out of a problem you've behaved your way into. You have to pay the metabolic cost. Epictetus talks about hardship. He says we must undergo hard winter training to prepare for things we have not yet seen. Training's expensive. It hurts. It takes time. You can't outsource. You can't buy, or you can buy a toaster, but you can't hire someone to do your push-ups. This utility is 100% ours. So I'm going to challenge everybody. No hacking, no shortcuts. Take up a mission of picking up heavy things. You can ruck, sandbag, pick up a rock, carry it for distance, carry it for time. Prove it to yourself that if your child, your dog, your buddy, your friend needs to be carried, you do have the utility to do it. So part one, we reclaimed our skill. Part two, we talked about fortifying the body. A strong body with a weak mind is just a dangerous animal. So part three of the series is going to be securing the mind. So remember, don't just listen to the podcast. Pick up something heavy, climb the stairs, walk to the shop, build your utility. I'm Vulcan. Until part three.